In such a brief amount of time since I started in my freshman year of college, now going up to my fifth year, AI has exploded and has become an insane topic that is often discussed in a professional sense and an academic sense. It's been really interesting to see the initial implementations of AI, and I'm really curious to see where it's going to head in the next couple years. But this might sound narrow minded, but previous to reading these articles, I really hadn't considered the implementations of AI in a professional sense outside of accounting. I think I'd been so honed in on what it meant for accountants and what it meant for me that I lost sight of what it meant for other professional jobs and other roles. So, specifically, I was really surprised by the impact this is having on lawyers and other people working in litigation, additionally, creative writers, and also computer development, software development, coding, that realm. Those are things I honestly had never really thought about the automation process in those areas. And it's really interesting to hear about how that's been impacted. Specifically, computer science. I most definitely agreed with what the article was saying. There had been a rapid boom in computer science majors, computer people pursuing that career path. And it's interesting to see that a lot of the coding, a lot of the things that these students are really exerting energy to learn and to understand how to process and implement those practices is all really being automated at the end of the day by AI. So I'm not sure. I'd love to learn more about computer science specifically, if there's going to be a higher demand for people working to kind of implement AI. I know the article mentioned there's a lot of need for those types of individuals in a sense. I remember it mentioned healthcare, and implementing processes and automating things. So I can see where maybe they would go into that realm, but also the question begs, is there a point where they become completely obsolete? Because even so, their work that they'd be implementing would be automated. So I'm really curious to see how that continues to progress in that realm. But what I also found to be interesting in Microsoft's trend report was how they said that employees really want AI implemented. So I do see both sides of this argument in the sense that employees, it eases a lot of tasks. It automates simple, mundane, repetitive things that are done in the office. And I do think that's very helpful. But at the same time, I'm wondering, are we also like training AI to do things that we're eliminating the workload for ourselves? Could that inverse be biting them in the foot for implementing these things and automating quick processes? I wonder if that does progress AI to automatically do that on its own in a coming space. So, secondly, what got me excited was thinking about selfishly the automated things that it will do for me. So, I did just mention how that maybe could be counterproductive in the long sense, but I do feel that is a really, really big incentive of AI. There's a lot of things such as memo writing, simplistic, repetitive tasks that will be automated through the use of AI, which I do think is a really exciting thing to look forward to. Um, what does kind of make me nervous and curious about it in the excited space is I wonder if there's going to become a point where the human proofreading task and the human ability to kind of scope down and hone in on mistakes is going to be overlooked and we're going to overlook errors. There's going to become this dependency where we're so reliant and dependent on AI and we're trusting what it's producing that um, will we overlook things and become less particular and miss maybe small points. I know that's something that does happen now. There's a lot of things um, and errors that come out as they're produced by AI. In my personal experience with AI, I've used it a lot for my own Excel use in the past. I asked it about creating a prompt, and then also how I would implement that in Excel to give me the given output. So it's really interesting to see how it would walk me through it. And I actually learned a lot through it. It wasn't just something where it gave me the given answer, although it did in the end give me the answer to what I was looking for in creating that Excel function. It was really nice to walk through it and understand the process of how that was implemented, where that train of thought comes from, and understanding the further Excel functions. So that is a really helpful tool. That does get me excited, but I do wonder. I wonder if we'll be a little more lenient on our errors, and I hope that we are more stringent on holding ourselves to that same standard when we're utilizing AI. Areas that I would like to master and grow in prior to graduation is just understanding the importance of prompting AI, how I know that can greatly affect the outcome of the device, And I think it's really important to know specifically what you're prompting and what you're looking for. So becoming more concise in those prompts and understanding what the chain effect of my prompting is to what the output's going to be. Um, Also, just kind of mentioning that still having that dependency on oneself to proofread and understand, and just using it more as a checking tool. And lastly, I think I would really like to develop a more worldly perspective when looking into AI. I mentioned that prior to really diving into these articles today, I didn't know as much as I did about how it's impacting the other realms of professional industries. And I'd really like to have a better understanding and a more worldly approach when looking at AI. But yeah, so AI is a really interesting tool, and I'm curious to see how it continues to be implemented.